الله أكبر الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. رب اغفر وارحم وتجاوز عما تعلم إنك أنت العز الأكرم. This part we already talked about it. We're going to go quickly about the definition or the differences of terms. We're going to compare the Qawaid Fiqhiyyah with the Sharia, Fiqh and Usul Fiqh. We talked about this. Just we're going to go quickly about this. It's summary of what we talked last two times. The concept have to be very clear. A lot of people there have a confusion between what we mean by fiqh, what's the sharia, what's the difference, what's usul fiqh, what's the qawaid al-fiqhiyyah, what's maqasid al-sharia, what we mean by this terminology. If we don't understand this concept, we don't understand. A lot of people, they have this confusion between the order and what's important, what's not important, what's the priority, and so we try quickly, inshallah, to keep it final, inshallah, words about this. So we're going to do this compare. Let's go to the next one, inshallah. Okay, we started with Sharia. We're going to read, if you can, Brother Ran or any brother, start from here.
Is this
read all.
Was this a microphone? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Definition of Sharia. Literally, a water hole where animals gather daily to drink, or the straight path. Path to be followed. A straight path is said by Allah. Then we put thee on the right way of religion, so follow thou that way, and follow not the desires of those who know not. Technically, the sum of total Islamic laws which were revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and which are recorded in the Holy Quran, as well as deducible from the Prophet's divinely guided lifestyle. The right way of religion. Wider than more formal rights and legal provisions which mostly came in Medina after Mecca verses had been revealed. It encompasses all legal rulings as belief rules, aqidah and moral akhlaq, and the practical rules, Sharia, Fiqh.
Here we see clearly that the Fiqh, the Sharia, it includes the aqidah, the akhlaq, and the Fiqh. So the Fiqh is part of these three. Always we say the Shari'atul Islam, or the religion of Islam, has three parts: Aqidah, Akhlaq, and Fiqh. Aqidah, Akhlaq, and Fiqh, it's Sharia. So we see the next picture is going to clarify this better. Okay, go. Okay, here الأحكام الكلية معنى الاعتقادية. So this is everything that related to the اعتقاد. And we have الأحكام العملية. And we have الأحكام الأخلاقية. So we start, أحكام means is rules. And we talked last time about the rules. There is rules in اعتقاد. For example, La ilaha illallah. This is the first rule of the hukum. It's hukum. And hukum means ruling. الأحكام الاعتقادية والأحكام الأخلاقية والأحكام العملية. العملية, it's including the ibadat, muamalat, all of this included. So it's include the belief and all the aqidah related rulings. And بالنسبة للأحكام العملية, it's including all the fiqh and everything related to fiqh. The last one is al-ahkam al-akhlaqiyya. It's the moral, the ruling moral. For example, can somebody give us one hukum akhlaqi, hukum khuluqi في Islam? Give me one rule. Put it in one rule.
Hadith?
Not hadith, rule. Could be from hadith, could be from the Quran, could be from the practice of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. الحياء شعبة من شعب الإيمان. This is a general ruling, but give me Islamic rule that it's related to the akhlaq. النصيحة مثلا one of the rules الاستئذان. Don't enter houses without حتى تستأنسوا وتسلموا على أهلها. Don't just open the doors and go. Only if it's a business or open to the public. But in private homes, you have to have istidhan, permission. This is a rule, Islamic rule related to Sharia al-Islam, but it's not fiqh. It's related to the ahkam al-akhlaqiyya or al-khuluqiyya. We mentioned that. So yeah, let's go to the next page, inshallah. Next, go ahead. Definition of fiqh. Let's continue. We talked about this.
Definition of fiqh: the true understanding of what is intended. Hadith: whoever Allah wishes good, He gives the fiqh of the religion, the understanding.
You know the hadith is saying, فَمَنْ أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِخَيْرٍ فَقَهُ فِي الدِّينِ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِخَيْرٍ يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ. The concept of understanding. It's not the fiqh as the 1/3 of the Sharia, you know, that we just talked about.
And then, is this the fiqh meaning or the Sharia meaning? Or?
Language, linguistically.
And this is the Sharia meaning, is it technically?
Yes.
Sharia meaning? Okay.
Of the fiqh.
The fiqh, yeah. The knowledge of the detailed rules of Islamic law with reference to conduct that has been derived from its specific evidence. It is the end product of Usul.
Product of the Usul. So the fiqh is all the ruling, the ahkam. Let's go.
لغة واصطلاحا.
لغة واصطلاحا, yes. Okay. Two aspects of fiqh. Aspect number one, go ahead.
Aspect 1, the science of practical rules. Fiqh in this context means absolute understanding of something in terms of concept and validation. It is a body of legalized practical rules in Islam. From the definition it derived the word hukm.
So fiqh, it's مجموعة الأحكام. It's the group of the ruling that has relation to the المسائل العملية, the practical aspect. Okay?
Aspect number 2, the knowledge of the detailed rules of Islamic law in its various branches, or the knowledge of the practical rules of Sharia acquired from the evidence in the sources.
So we have two sides in the fiqh. Side number one, it's the ahkam or the ruling that related to the practical side of Islam, and with the dalil, with the proof. مع أدلتها, معنى the proof that deducted from the sources. Yeah. Okay. So Sharia wal fiqh. Let's see the. Go ahead.
Differences between Sharia and Fiqh. Sharia, the body of revealed laws found in the Quran and Sunnah. Fiqh, the body of laws deduced from Sharia to cover specific situation, not directly treated in Sharia law. Sharia, wider in scope and includes all human actions. Fiqh, confined to human acts in terms of legality and illegality. Sharia, unchangeable and fixed. Fiqh changes according to circumstances under which it's applied. Sharia lays down the basic principles, and fiqh is specific and shows how the basic principles of Sharia should be applied in given circumstances.
This is another to compare, but it's very clear that the fiqh here is part of the Sharia, it's not the other side. So let's go to the
Usul.
fiqh now. So we're going to understand the difference between Sharia. We already understand the difference between Sharia and fiqh. Now we're going to go to Usul al-Fiqh. Go ahead.
Are you sending out these slides?
I'm sorry?
Are you sending out these slides?
Yeah, we send them.
I'll send the link.
We'll
Okay,
send
sure.
them.
Exactly.
We're going to have printouts of it, Joe.
Yeah, we'll print them. We'll make one copy for you.
Usul al-Fiqh, literally roots of Islamic laws. Technically, methods by which rules of fiqh are deduced from their sources. Methods how to deduce the hukm. They are the principles born by the use of which.
So let me
Yes.
go to the first one, the methodology. Methodology by which rules of fiqh are deductive, what's the rules that the faqih follow to produce the ahkam. and what's the methodology that the faqih, or what's the sources of the faqih that the faqih use. So any discussion about sunnah as source of tashri'ah, it's part of fiqh or part of usul fiqh.
What was that again?
Any discussion about the sunnah as source of ahkam, is this discussion in the fiqh area or in usul fiqh? Usul fiqh. Any discussion about ijma', about hujjiyah to sunnah, hujjiyah is the sunnah is a reference, or any discussion about the sources, this is part of the usul, it's not part of the fiqh. Hujjiyah, is it an evidence or is it a source, proof of ahkam or not? Hujjiyah. Because this is one of the big discussion. Is the qiyas permissible or not? Analogy. Is the sunnah, what kind of sunnah that we use in fiqh? Big discussion in the history. And is the ijma', what we mean by the ijma', we're going to talk about this. All this discussion is usuli discussion. It's not a fiqh discussion. Yes. Al-Ghazali, what's Al-Ghazali? Oh, the second.
They are the principles born by the use of which the mujtahid arrives at the legal rules through specific evidence. Al-Ghazali. Usul al-fiqh is an expression employed for the evidences of these legal rules and for a knowledge of the broad ways in which they reveal such rules, and not by way of specific indication for a specific rule.
So Al-Ghazali has a very good book, we call it Mustasfa. Mustasfa is the usul. And when you're one of the great usul, book of usul, and he wrote a lot about his Shafi'i, of course, madhab-wise, but also his usuli and faqih, and also alim. So the same concept. Let's go to the next, Sean. Next one, brother. Okay.
The Sharia,
Why there?
Okay, so comparison differences. These are other differences?
Yeah.
Okay. Sharia, the wider circle, includes all of human actions.
Okay, go to the next.
Well, this is kind of a little bit different, isn't it? It's
Go back.
the fiqh confined to what are commonly understood as human acts as far as their legality and illegality are concerned. So we did say that. And then two, Sharia, the body of revealed injunctions found both in Quran and Sunnah. Fiqh is one of the components of the Sharia. Sharia is fixed and unchangeable. Fiqh, certain rulings on fiqh changes to the changes of circumstance under which it's applied. Sharia, based on revelation on which the knowledge is only obtained from the Quran and Sunnah. Fiqh, power of reasoning is stressed. Deductions based upon knowledge are continuously referred to with approval. Sharia, various degrees of approval or disapproval. Fiqh, action is either legal or illegal.
Approval and disapproval.
I'm sorry?
Whom we are approving and disapproving? The committee or is
No, approved among the faqih, because the faqih is required not only to give the rulings, but the proof of the rulings. This is fiqh. So the faqih's job is not only to say this is halal or haram, say tell you this is halal and this is the why. This is haram and this is why. So the fiqh always go with the two sides, the rulings and the proof of the rulings. If you don't have proof, you cannot consider it fiqh. So the fiqh is based in the dalil. So the faqih job is to produce the ahkam and bring the proof of these rulings. So this is why, but here, for the Sharia, it's only Quran and Sunnah. There is discussion about the Sharia. If the fiqh is part of the Sharia, and the fiqh can use Quran and Sunnah, can use ijma' and can use qiyas and can use a lot of things based in the so the Sharia also it's include this one. Any other question about this slides? So, what's bigger, the Sharia or the fiqh? Sharia, okay. This is for the. saying every Sharia, excuse me, every Sharia is or all fiqh is part of the Sharia, or the Sharia is part of fiqh. Fiqh is part of Sharia. Very good. So just to be sure that you're following. Alhamdulillah. Okay, let's go to the next slide. MashaAllah. Fiqh and usul fiqh. Go ahead.
Okay. Fiqh is concerned with the knowledge of detailed rules of Islamic law in its various branches. Usul al-fiqh, methods that are applied in the deduction of such rules from their sources.
Okay, let's go again. Read the definition again.
Fiqh is concerned with the knowledge of detailed rules of Islamic law in its various branches.
Okay, so the knowledge of the detailed rules هي الأحكام التفصيلية. أحكام التفصيلية. And the ahkam, we have 5 kinds of the ahkam that come every either معناها واجب, حرام, or واجب or مستحب, حرام and مباح. Because you remember this. Usul al-fiqh is the methods that are applied in the deduction of the such ruling. It's very clear. So we're not talking about in usul al-fiqh, we don't talk about the rulings, the ahkam. وإنما القواعد المناهج المتبعة لاستخراج الأحكام. The methodologies that the faqih followed to produce the ahkam. Okay?
Fiqh is the law itself. Usul al-fiqh is methodology of the law.
You see now very clear. We repeat it many more times.
That hadith that talks about when Allah wants good for somebody, He teaches them fiqh, He gives them knowledge of fiqh. Does that mean like a basic level of fiqh, what we're going through, or an advanced level, like a sheikh level of fiqh? What does that constitute?
We just talk about this hadith at the beginning. The hadith means general understanding. Fiqh and aqidah and akhlaq. This is fiqh al-din. إذا أراد الله بقوم خير. If Allah wanted good for you, Allah will provide the understanding of the deen. Yes. Let's go to the next.
Usul al-fiqh is concerned with the methodology of legal reasoning.
Qawaid al-fiqhiyyah and usul al-fiqh.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And Qawaid al-fiqhiyyah, differences between Qawaid al-fiqhiyyah and Usul al-fiqh. Usul al-fiqh is concerned with the methodology of legal reasoning. Qawaid al-fiqhiyyah is maxims that are based on the fiqh itself.
So, concerned about the methodology, and for the qawaid, it's the base, the ruling that the faqih uses directly to produce the ahkam. Let's go to second, I'll be back to this.
Method which being applied in deducing law. Qawaid is the principle of the law.
Of the law. So the principles, this is the connection between the usul and the faqih. So the produce usul al-fiqh, the usuli produce this principle and more, and the methodology and the last one.
Usul is the external part of fiqh, and qawaid is the internal part of the fiqh.
Usul is the external, and here we have to be very careful about what. So the usuli put the rules, put the methodology, and things that the faqih learned how to produce the ahkam. But when he produced the ahkam, he used the qawaid al-fiqhiyyah directly. It's not the methodology, but when he started producing the ahkam, he used directly the what? The qawaid. Means, for example, if the usuli said that there is 4 sources of the Sharia, Quran and Sunnah and Ijma' and Qiyas. See, the faqih keeps this in mind. He doesn't use them directly to produce the ahkam, but it's knowledge, external knowledge that the faqih have to know to do his job. For the qawaid al-fiqhiyyah, it's directly related to the ahkam. Means the hukum, for example, one of the qawaid, دفع المضار مقدم على جلب المنافع. Pushing the harm, it's priority. And the faqih, somebody asked him about ruling of something that could cause harm. but the harm, and there is some benefit in it. The faqih said, because of this rule, I'm going to produce this hukum, and this is my dalil from the Quran and Sunnah and others. So external and internal in this meaning. But both of them, they are not the role of the faqih to produce the qawaid al-fiqhiyyah, but it's the job of the usuli to produce al-qawaid al-fiqhiyyah, that the faqih use it directly to produce the hukum and the ahkam. Okay? Any question about this? Any question about the relation between the usul al-fiqh?
So
Yeah.
sooner or later we're going to find out how this was applied practically.
Yes, of course. This is the theoretically. This part is theory. This is why this is some people. But understand that theoretically, it's to give you a deeper understanding. Many people, this parts of the knowledge, they skip it. This is why their knowledge will be always superficial. If you don't understand the depth of the concepts and definition, you cannot go deep. We can just pass all of this and go to examples and start. The knowledge that's based in example is very limited example. The knowledge that you base it in the definition and in the concepts, this is the deep knowledge. So we'll see the example will make it more clear.
So,
Yes.
so Usul al-Fiqh is methodology, the way,
Yes.
and Qawaid al-Fiqh is the constraints, the boundaries, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's more connected to the yes. Let's go to that. All of us, we know, of course, the different kinds of the ahkam, ruling related to the Sharia. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, rulings related to Sharia. Wajib, obligatory. Mandub, voluntary. Mubah, permissible. Makruh, disliked. Haram is forbidden.
Everybody know this, right? You know this guy four kind, you know? You have to memorize them. Wajib, mandub, mubah, makruh, and haram. Okay, go to the next.
Sources of Qawaid Fiqhiyyah.
How the qawaid being produced. Go ahead.
Primary sources are the Quran, Sunnah, Ijma, and Qiyas.
Qiyas.
Qiyas, yeah,
Yes.
the analogy.
So this is as the fiqh itself. Uh-huh.
Secondary sources, istihsan, juristic preference of the stronger principles. Istishab, presumption of continuity. Maslaha, mursala,
مصالح المرسلة أو المصلحة المرسلة.
maslaha mursala, extended analogy, consideration of public interest. And is it Saad or Sad?
Said.
Sad al-Zarai, blocking unlawful. Okay. Sad al-Duraha. Al-Duraha. Dhara.
لا ها
Zara and Zara.
الذال
The.
رائع
ذهب.
ذال
So Sad
الذراع.
al-Dharaha, blocking unlawful means to an unlawful end.
All of this, the fuqaha, they use them also. The fuqaha, they use this as a source of tashri'. We discuss this when we talk about usul al-fiqh.
شيخ استحسان
استحسان
سكند
استصحاب
استحباب لا
استحباب and مصالح المرسلة
هذول
استصحاب not استحباب استصحاب.
what mean is
I want to talk about استصحاب. فعندك استحسان the faqih يستحسن. It's like this way to approach preference. So for example, doesn't have any roots in the Quran or Sunnah or Ijma' or Qiyas, but the faqih, it's preferred on the stronger principle. He said it's better this way, and it's ahsan, it's better to follow this way. So this is one of the sources that the fuqaha they use if they don't have anything in the Quran or the Sunnah or Ijma' or Qiyas, so they make the istihsan. Istishab, it's continuity. For example, we talked about the istishab. Istishab, that something, it's continue. What do you mean by presumption in English?
Presumption is like you assume beforehand. You already decide something beforehand.
You assume that it's going to keep going on, or that it's going to continue.
This is why here is istishab, and they say this is the ruling that we have proven it in the Quran or Sunnah or Ijma',
Right.
and it goes with it. It's not analogy, it's not qiyas, but they go together from the understanding of the Sharia. It fits in this context or in this ruling.
Okay.
And this is one we call it istishab. تصاحبها في الحكم means it's like be with it in the same ruling. And this is an act the faqih can, the mufti or the faqih, he will give their ruling. This is go with this. It's not qiyas. Be careful. Qiyas, it's analogy. Qiyas, they have the same illah. What's qiyas mean? For example,
give an example, Sheikh.
I'll give example. Go ahead.
Like المخدرات يعني في الزمن القديم.
No, this is qiyas.
قياس.
This is what I said.
They complement each other.
Yeah, but
That's a
be
contradiction.
careful between the difference between istishab and qiyas. Qiyas, what's make me, for example, shurb al-khamr, drinking alcohol is haram in Islam. What's the illah? What's the reason? Al-iskar. Al-iskar is to make you drink and you lose your conscience, or So what they said, any drugs or anything that been used for the same, they say they have the same illah, the same reason, it carry the same ruling, very clear, that this is qiyas, that this is strong. Istishab, it's lower than this. They don't have the same illah, but they go in the same, there is a similarity, but it's not, doesn't go to the level of the illah. Illah, that's it. It's the same illah, the same hukum, no discussion about it. But if they go to the same area, for example, this kind of practice, al-ma'azif wal-qaynat, for example, they give always an example, the alcohol and this kind of music, and they go all three, many things, they go together in the same environment. Because all of them, they don't have the same illah, but they have the same encouragement, for example, if they have the same encouragement for the haram. So the illah, it's not, of tahrim al-khamr, is not the encouragement for the haram, but it's the iskar. So the other things go with it, but doesn't have the same illah, but it's come up in the same environment. And this is the faqih determine. We're not going to determine this musahaba. Musahaba means they go together. They go together, so the ruling will be similar. It's not illah, it's not qiyas. Qiyas is very strict, qiyas is very strong. Qiyas doesn't go to the opinion of the faqih, the judgment of the faqih. Qiyas is force itself on you. Same illah, same hukum, no discussion. And this has come from the Qawaid and come from the Usul. But istishab, it's a lighter way of the qiyas. Yes.
Could it be considered a generic similarity?
Something is a similarity in it's not the reason, but similarity that put the faqih, make the faqih connect the same hukum, the same ruling in it. We will try to give some example of the
Is it like it's consistent with the spirit of Islam?
Exactly. This is a spirit in it, in meaning that these two, they go together and they should have the same hukum, even though they don't have the same illah. This is the.
Are we talking about the consensus of Sahabas?
No. This Sahaba has nothing to do with this. Ijma' of Sahaba, yes.
Oh, that's what Sahabas, not the
Yes.
scholars, right?
No. Ijma' al-Sahaba, Ijma' al-Ummah.
Yeah.
But here in this case, Ijma' is very, we talk about this in detail when we, in Usul al-Fiqh, we learn this.
الشيخ ملاحظة بس
نعم.
تاء هذيك يعني طاء ما تاء
أنا هي.
التي استصحاب اسطي
استصحاب.
طاء مش تاء
Not استصحاب.
يعني تاء
تاء and صاد.
تاء وصاد
استصحاب. From مصاحب. استصحاب. استصحاب, yes. الاستصحاب. Okay. المصالح المرسلة. This is the all of this are usul fiqh, by the way. This is the methodology that the usuliyin they put it. And استخراج القواعد, taking the قواعد الفقهية, they can use all of this to produce, especially the قواعد, and we're going to talk about الفرعية, the secondary قواعد. And the 5 basic قواعد, most of them are taken from a hadith or from ayat or a hadith. But the قواعد that come, the جزئية, the secondary قواعد, they have this source. So المصالح المرسلة, it's the public interest. Sometimes when the faqih come and they say in Egypt, for example, the Nile, the use of the river, the Nile, about some certain rulings in mu'amalat, the faqih produce hukum based in the interest of this local community. Imam Shafi'i was in Iraq. He gave some ahkam. He went to Egypt, he gave different ahkam. You see what's going on in agriculture, some ruling in agriculture and water and all of this. And they asked what happened to Imam Shafi'i. He said, there is something, is al-urf, there is something called also al-masarih al-mursala. The faqih is not a machine. Faqih is very, have to be very sensitive to the local community and its interest and history and how things done. If you don't understand, you cannot produce a fiqh that fit the purpose of the Sharia. It will be just blocks. You don't know how the... Of course, we're not talking about the basic knowledge of principle of Islam. We talk about ijtihadat, what to do. Sometimes the masalih al-mursala, the public interest, made the faqih, put it in consideration to produce the hukum. But in case of the qawaid sometimes look to the public interest and produce. We're going to see examples of that. Sadd al-dhara'a, it's blocking the unlawful or the harm that can produce by hukum. The faqih said, if we say this is a permissible practice, even though theoretically it's permissible practice, but if we allowed it, could produce haram or produce harm to the people. So the faqih put in consideration what's the sadd al-dhara'a, how to block. Sometimes the people, they go too far in sadd al-dhara'a. And can be, I'm sorry?
Excuse me, but from what you've just been saying, Ustad Abdur Rafa, it should be blocking lawful means to an unlawful end.
Okay, say it again.
Blocking lawful means to an unlawful end.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, instead of blocking unlawful. Right.
Yeah.
Where's
So
your-
something that you can do it
Oh,
by faith,
unlawful,
but it's going to harm
unlawful.
other people.
So, yeah,
Like patriotism.
blocking lawful means, yes, you're right. I see what you mean, yeah. You cannot block something it's blocked already. You're not going to block something that already is makruh or haram. You cannot. So this is lawful. You're right. So something it's lawful, halal, but we block it so it doesn't produce in haram in it. But by itself, it's not haram. It's not unlawful. But when it's going to produce, to lead to encourage practice that is haram, the faqih said we don't do this because of this. And this is of course, yes.
There's a muta marriage in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
The muta marriage,
But our marriage is blocked already.
Yeah,
so-
but some people do it under the veil of an actual marriage. Some places. So
Do it in what? In?
like they do the contracts, you know, they do fake, it's all halal, and they do the contract, you know. But they don't say it's a mutah marriage. But it's like,
So how to block it?
so I heard like in Egypt, they do that. Oh, it's okay for people from Khalij, they go there, they get married, and they come back after a month or two.
The idea is how this apply in this example.
I was like, if they could stop it somehow, there would be a sadul dara. Because that's lawful, but that's causing harm.
But it's not lawful. If it's,
That's what he's saying.
if you married intention to divorce, all the fuqaha, الزواج بنية الطلاق, it's not permissible.
Yeah, I think
You married,
doing that, right?
yeah, and I'm talking about from Ahl Sunnah or Jama'ah. It's not permissible to marry with niyyah to divorce. الطلاق الزواج بنية الطلاق إجماع. You cannot do that. And you cannot plan it. I'm going to marry, and then going special, of course, if you don't have the other person. One guy, there is some group of Hanabila, they have this ruling. They allowed it. Very dangerous. One last 90s, this big sheikh, we have, we're going to have a graduation party. He said, go get the speakers, and we return them. So we use them and we return them. Go buy the speakers and we return them. I told him, how you do that? He said, this is what he said. If the marriage with the intention of divorce is permissible, how come buying speakers with niyyah of return them is not permissible? Yeah. This is what his niyyah. This is lying, cheating, put all the kaba'ir in it.
It's also istishab.
And this guy is what they do. It's permission for them to marry. They marry somebody and their niyyah is going to divorce after 4 years. When finish school,
So he said he
go
used
back to marry.
Istishab, yeah.
Sheikh, he used istishab.
Huh?
He used istishab.
He use
Istishab.
No, the idea is saddu dhari'a. Some people said, oh, it's better to marry with niyyah or divorce than to don't marry and do the haram. This is how they use. They say this exactly what they use. Saddu dhari'a.
So what can we use?
And they use it in the they use it and block unlawful ruling to avoid so they use it for the tabrir, justification of that. So I said that these are all of this are the production of the usuliyin. The usul al-fiqh, the scholars, this is you faqih. They talk, there is books about istihsan, istishab, al-masalih al-mursala, and sadd al-dhara'. And this is books how the faqih uses and when. And unfortunately, sometimes they try to use, they misuse this principle. These are very deep principles. And the faqih, if you don't know the concept of sadd al-dhara', this is an usul. But the Qawaid Fiqhiyyah, they are reflection of all of this principles. Man, the Quran is of course.
Because sadul dara would be like, children goes to father, but because the children is still like being breastfed, so
No,
it goes to
the
mother.
children go to the mother.
Mothers?
Of course, the children go to the mother. This is a ruling for the children. They go to the mothers,
And then they go to
and
mother.
this is certain. And then there is different opinion how
Surah Baqarah,
when
you
they
have
are.
that written, right?
Like 7 or 8.
You have that.
Then there's the
There is
choice.
Quran and Sunnah and about the children enter certain age they have to be with their mother, and then the Shafi'i said you ask them you want to go with your father or your mother. Some people said the girls and the mother. There is a different ruling about it. But saddu dhara'a, it's to protect, to avoid, so blocking halal things, so you can avoid the haram that can be produced and this is, you have to be very, very careful because some people, they run to sadd al-dhara'a, haram, 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 in hujjah of sadd al-dhara'a. And everything halal, you become everything haram. Sadd al-dhara'a has a great purpose. It's not to control people or to, everything is haram, everything is this, driving is not permissible, sadd al-dhara'a, maybe this, maybe. If you're going to, you have to be very careful how to use these principles okay. So, these are the sources of al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyyah. We note something, that the same source of the faqih that they use to produce the ruling, the ahkam, are the same sources that the usuli use to produce the al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyyah.
So what would be the example of maslaha or mursala?
Masalih al-mursala, for example, this is the public interest. For example, the fiqh, one of the ruling, even though this has hadith in it, الناس شركاء في ثلاث الماء والنار والكلاء. The people they are together, owned by the public, three things. And water, source of water, source of energy or fire and energy, and source of the kala. And kala is the grass that used to feeding the animals. So this is hadith. The people come here, the qadi come case, how much the government own, and what's been individual owned, what's publicly owned. The oil, when the oil been discovered here, is the oil can be petroleum, it can be owned by the government or can be privatized. Now the discussion come here. In some places, what we put in consideration, it's the interest of the public. Interest of the public here come as a source of tashri'ah. If we're going to privatize the oil, for example, and this private owners, they're going to come and controlling and become monopoly, and the people, and affecting the life of the public. The faqih said, make fatwa, that it's unlawful, it's غير halal, it's haram for the government to privatize the industry of the oil industry. I'm not giving fatwas, but I'm giving examples. Based in what? Based in al-masalih al-mursala. Because or the water, the source of the water, if they become the big companies, they want to buy the springs, to produce the water. So here we look to the benefit of the people first, and make the ruling. So this we call it al-masalih al-mursala. To give a hukum, you have to put in consideration the interest of the public. There's a big discussion, the question of water, the question of energy and source of energy, and the role of the big company who controls this.
So you can kind of make plastics unlawful, plastic bags unlawful.
For example, because of the harm of this, we say it's not permissible for people to use a plastic bag when they go to shoppers or you can say if the faqih see that there is a real harm that can cause by using the the plastic bags because of the pollution, we make fatwa that it's not permissible for Muslims to use the plastic bags, and this can be good fatwa.
So put one question. So when Umar ibn Khattab, he made the fatwa that for about had that do not cut their hands. What was it based upon?
Illat al-hukm is not there. People, they're not stealing because to become rich. They are stealing to eat. So this is not masalah. No. This has source in the illah. Ilal could be qiyas. Qiyas, he used the qiyas, he used the sunnah. And everything can go back to sunnah and the Quran.
Umar ibn Khattab, when he died, the Sahaba said, مات عشر.
Sahaba, Umar ibn Khattab, he was
when he died,
a great source of the ilm, yes. So we still, now at least we are documented, and inshallah next week we will start this.
جزاك الله خير.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.